Recording. Go.
One of my favorite pastimes is long distance bike riding. I continue to be amazed with the ability to travel long distance with minimal effort without a motor. One of the favorite feelings I have is riding down a country road, going over 20 miles an hour with the wind behind my back, and I'm just barely pedaling. It's just such a nice feeling. Unfortunately, there's an issue that I've been dealing with that I know my families and friends deal with, and what I'm talking about are flat tires.
Ugh.
And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to inform you on how to minimize recurring flat tires. For those of you who don't know a lot about flat tires, I'm going to teach you the most common causes of flat tires and how to prevent them. And those of you that know a lot about flat tires, maybe you're going to learn a new technique or discover new products that you could put to prevent recurring flats. I've been bike riding since I was 5 years old, since BMX bikes all the way up to a road bike I'm building right here. And just recently I got into cyclocross bicycling. And so I've learned a lot about flats, and I've studied a lot about flat tires. So the three areas I'm going to concentrate on in preventing flat tires is during the installation of an inner tube, and the second is daily maintenance, and the third part, I'm going to introduce three types of products you can add to your bike to help minimize flat tires. The first part I'm going to talk about is when you install an inner tube in your bike, and I'm not going to demonstrate how to put a tire in. I'm just going to talk about a few things you need to pay attention to when you put the inner tube in. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is when you first take off the old inner tube, you have a flat tire and you're going to put a new inner tube in. And what you want to, according to Park Tool Tire and Tube Removal Installation, last access on 4/25/18, they suggest that when you pull the old inner tube out, you want to inspect the tire. You want to make sure nothing's poking through, because there's no point in putting another inner tube back in and just get another flat right away. And then the second thing you want to pay attention to, and this is according to Sheldon Brown, what every cyclist should know about flat tires, last access on 5/25/18. There's three things that he suggests that you do when you install the inner tube. The first thing is the inner tubes come folded up like this. So first what you want to do is you want to put a little bit of air in it so it forms to the tire here. The second thing you want to do is when you put the tire back on, you don't want to use this tire lever is what you use to pry the tire off. And the reason why you don't want to use it when you put the tire back on, because it's going to pinch the tire and you're going to cause a hole in there. Now the third thing you want to do is you want to pump up to about 20 to 30 degree PSI. And that's what that's going to do. It's going to form the inner tube to the tire, and it's going to make the tire seat inside the rim. And then once you hit that 20 to 30, you let a little bit of air out, and then you pump it up to the recommended PSI. Now that I've discovered how to prevent recurring flats during the installation process, I'm going to talk about how to prevent flats during the maintenance process. And when I'm talking about maintenance, I'm talking about every day, right before you go on a bike ride. Two things I want you to do before you go on a bike ride. And the first thing I want you to do is I want you to check for embedded material like thorns or whatever like that, because it may not have caused a flat on your last bike ride, but eventually it's going to. And you don't want to be stuck out in the middle of nowhere having to change a flat or having to call someone to come and rescue you. So the second thing that I want you to do before you go on each bike ride is have the correct tire pressure. And according to Performance Bicycle, the right tire pressure for road bikes, last access on 4/25/18, what they suggest is putting the right PSI, and every tire has the recommended PSI on the side of the tire here. And the reason why you want to do that, because you want to prevent what they call pinch flats. And what pinch flats are is when the inner tube gets in between the rim and either the road, or between the rim and the tire. This shows it right here. And this is what happened to me a couple weeks ago. I took my bike out on the trail, and I noticed I didn't have my trusty pump here. And then I noticed that I didn't have enough air in my tire, but I said, I drove all the way out here. I'm going to go on my bike ride anyways. And I've never been on this trail before, and it had a lot of rocks on it. So sure enough, I was bottoming out like this. The rim was hitting and sure enough, I got a flat tire. So I knew it was going to happen, but did it anyways. So I want you to be sure you have the right tire pressure. Now that I discussed tire maintenance to prevent recurring flats, now I'm going to talk about 3 different types of products you can add to your bike that could prevent recurring flats. Now, me personally, I love the lightest bike possible. I want the most efficient bike, so I want it to have what they call the best rolling resistance. And what rolling resistance is it's the friction is the amount of energy required to overcome friction of the road and tire. So pretty much what it is the better rolling resistance you have, the faster you're going to go to. And according to, we can prove why extra mass on bike wheel is your worst enemy, last access on 5.1.18. They use mathematical formulas to talk about how much weight is added out to there and how much rotational friction you're going to have on there. And pretty much what they said, it's minimal. The only people who are really going to notice about this are going to be like professional bike riders where every second counts. But if you're just going to go ride with family and friends, that added weight, you're not going to notice it. So the first thing I want you to consider is the actual type of inner tube you put in there, because they come in different thicknesses. Like the thinner you have, the lighter it's going to be, and possibly faster you can go. But if you just don't want to do with flats, you want to go with a thicker one. It's going to add just a little bit more weight. Then the second item I want you to consider is what they have here are their sealants. And what I have here is Fix-A-Flat and Slime. And what these are just compounds you just spray inside the inner tube. And whenever you get a flat, you just pull out the thord or whatever, and it self-seals. Works pretty good. A lot of people like these. And the third type of product I'm going to talk about is a tire liner. And what tire liners are, this one right here is a slime tire liner. It also comes in like Kevlar, which is what they make bulletproof vests out of. And what these are just, these fit in between the inner tube and the tire, just to add a layer of protection. And the only thing is you need to still consider about this is you still want to do the maintenance. You still want to check for those holes every time before you go on a bike ride, because eventually it will go through. So now I've discussed how you can minimize flats through the installation of the inner tube by daily maintenance and products that you can add on there. And me personally, I don't let flat tires stop me from bike riding, and I've noticed it has in the past. And even every spring, my parents would call me over saying, "Dennis, come and fix our flat tires. We want to go on bike riding." And what I did is I added a tire liner 2 years ago to their bikes, and they haven't had a flat tire since. So, what keyword I want you to remember is preventive maintenance is the best prevention for flat tires. Just check your tire every time before you go on a bike ride. It's probably the best thing you can do. Well, I hope you learned a lot, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I gotta
I
take
have
a picture.
question. Do the liners fit like the tube? Do they go, is that a whole circle?
No, it just covers the outer part.
He did.
So it's still compromised on the
Dennis,
sidewalk.
don't move the bike on the piano.
Does that make sense? It doesn't cover the whole, it just covers the top part.
It just covers the top part?
Mhm.
Oh, so does it adhere?
On the rim, Darlene.
It's in
It
between the
goes
rim, it's in
between the rim and
between the
tire.
tire and the inner tube. It's just an
Okay.
added layer of protection.
Yeah.
But it goes all the way around?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Because in
Cool.
the packaging, it's hard to
Cool.
tell. So, okay, great.
Okay. So
Thanks.
how quick